Hey kids and parents, welcome to Module 2. We're going to talk about some big words, overall, transition, and organization. And we're going to talk about what those mean in our writing. The first term we're going to talk about is overall writing. What does that mean? It means that you stay on one topic throughout the whole paper. Sometimes friends want to write a book about riding a skateboard, riding a bike, learning how to dance, learning how to swim, and they put it all in one book. But overall writing is when the whole book is on the same topic. So if page 1 is about riding a bike, then page 2 is also about how to ride that bike. What does overall writing look like? Well, let's look at this friend's paper. They are talking about riding a bike. And it says, step 1, it says, get on the bike and hold the handlebars. On page 2, we have put your feet on the pedals. We're still talking about the bike. And then on page 3 it says, and then ride the bike. This book was all about the same idea. It was all about riding a bike. The next word I want to talk about is organization. Organization is when you put your ideas in order on different pages. And you think to yourself, does this make sense? For example, on page 1, I would talk about getting the bread, and page 2, I would talk about putting peanut butter on one side, putting jelly on the other, and then on page 3, I would talk about squishing it together. That's the correct order in which you would make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But we wouldn't make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich by starting with the page that says squish it together, and then on the second page we talk about putting peanut butter and jelly on the bread. You got to put the peanut butter and jelly on the bread first, and then you squish it together. So you got to think to yourself, do my steps make sense? When we talk about organizational writing, we talk about putting the first thing on the first page, second thing on the second page, and then we put the third thing on the third page, and so on. You may have more steps than that, a fourth step, a fifth step, but make sure that your steps go in order and that they make sense. What does organization look like? Well, our friend here talked about putting a robot together. And he said the first thing you need to do is put on the robot's head. Be careful not to make it smash. Then he said, and then put the robot's body. So he's saying the first thing you need to do is put the robot's head on. The second thing you need to do is to put the robot's body on. And the last thing that you need to do is put the robot's arms and legs on. The last term I want to talk about today is transitions. Tell it in steps. First you, then you, next you, and then last. Or you could say step 1, step 2, step 3. What do transitions look like? Well, in this friend's paper, she used the words first, next, and last. She did use invented spelling, which I love. We'll talk about that in another module. But I want you to see where she said, first, you need to pick a book. Her book was about how to read a book. And we'll get into helpful hints in another section, but she included the helpful hint, pick your favorite book. So first, and then we go to next. Next, you need to open a book. Helpful hints, make sure you open to the first page. So we've got first, we've got next, and then we have last. Last, you need to read it. Make sure you have fun. So these are some transition words that you will use. I will add those to our module so that you can have them as a printable word bank to keep with you if you want. We have the words first, finally, next, after, then, and last. You could also use step 1, step 2, step 3. And friends, I want you to remember whenever you're doing your writing at home, the most important thing to do is to have fun. Have fun with this writing. It's a creative process, and you guys have so many wonderful things to share. I can't wait to see your books loaded into our class Padlet.